Hello and welcome to the second part of basic sketching in OnShape. This time I want to show you how to sketch and make shapes that are a little bit more free. They have more curves and so they're a little bit more artistic, right? You're not gonna use the measurements on every single line that you make. Today we're gonna try to make something like this. This is a perfect example. This is a Pokemon called Gengar, and it's a perfect example because you will be, if I make this, I would have to use different tools for drawing, right? So, first steps or first things first, you need the file in your laptop. How do you get the file in your laptop? You're going to go to Bing or Google or whatever and use a topic, in my case, Pokemon, and then you write silhouette, the word silhouette or the word stencil, and you're going to get this kind of images, this type of images, all right? So you select the one that you want and you start. I already selected this one. After you already have your file, you right click on your image, you right click on the image, click on save image as, and then you download it. I already downloaded it and I named it Gengar. So after you click on save, it's gonna be here as part of your downloads. Now, in OnShape, you create a new file. I'm going to create documents. I'm gonna name it 1.2 whatever, basic sketching, and I'm gonna create the file. Remember that this takes a couple seconds while it starts. And business as usual, I'm going to start working here. So I will hide my front plane and I will also hide my right plane. I would like to also hide the origin for this exercise, and I will go in the view that is normal to the top plane. This is the same thing we've been doing in the past practice. So I'm going to click on sketch. It asks me where would I like to draw. I would like to draw on the top plane. So I'm just going to click on top and it creates a new sketching plane, which is this one. Now, I will show you some of the tools that we haven't used in the past practice, so you get familiar with this, right? Now, to begin, the type of product I would like to make looks like this. Imagine this cut on a piece of card or cardboard or whatever. So my piece of card, that's the first thing I need to make, and in this case is going to be a square or a rectangle. So I'm just going to draw a rectangle. First bit I need you to understand is if you select the rectangle, in this case if the line is blue and you finish your sketch, it looks like this when you finish the sketch, right? But it is a visible line, so that means if you're laser cutting it or you're 3D printing, it will cut or print over that line. Nevertheless, sometimes as designers, you need lines that are only there so you can see them, so you can use them for something different. If you select your square and then you click on construction, the lines are going to change and they will become dashes and dots. All right, when you see a dash and dots as a line, this is invisible for the software. So you as a designer, you can see it, but the software cannot see it, meaning that you can use it, but the laser cutter is not going to cut or do anything with it. This is what we need. So I'm going to go back to my sketch. You'll see why. And I mentioned this. I said 100. I said 10 by 10. This is going to be a piece of card or cardboard of 10 by 10. So I'm going to say 100, 100. Remember that mine is in millimeters. Yours should be in millimeters as well. And with this one, I will have an idea of how big my final product would look like. So step number one, you create the outer limits of whatever type of product you're making. Step number two, you click here. Well, you should see it like this. It should look like this, but you're gonna click on this arrow, and instead of selecting the option insert DXF or DWG, you're going to insert an image. When you click on insert image, you're going to see this window. If the zoom of your web browser is at 100%, sometimes you cannot see the option here at the bottom. So make sure that if you don't see it, you just zoom out a little bit, and then you can see the option import right here at the corner. When you click on import and then you select the file that you just downloaded, right? click on open, then it will upload the file onto your project, right? You can close this. And then this is the way this works, so you don't do it wrong. If you click on the image, one click, then it says draw an image rectangle. So my first click will start the image, and then when I move, I will insert the actual image. Now, so we don't get confused, what I want to do is to leave the silhouette of my Gengar inside of my 10 by 10 square. So in order to do that, I'm going to insert the image again so I can see the menu here. And I'm gonna try to make it, I think this big would be perfect. Obviously it's not in, right? So what am I going to do? I will select my square, right? If you keep shift press, and then you click on the line, you will undo the selection. I only need to select this. And I'm gonna use a tool that we already used, which is, I believe, which is transform. When you select, I have these 4 lines selected. You can see the number 4 next to the pointer. And when you click on transform, I will obtain this that will allow me to move my little square. Obviously, if you move the indicator horizontally or vertically, it will only allow you to move it in that direction. But if you use the little square here, it will allow you to move it freely. I want to do this on a 10 by 10 square, so I'm going to put my new square here. And as you can see next to the pointer, if you click, you are going to confirm the action. So I will click, confirm the action, and now my what? Now my 10 by 10 square is surrounding my silhouette. This is going to be my sketch 1, okay? I'm going to finish my sketch 1 here. So I know I can see this, but if I turn it off, nothing is going to be here. This is very important, so then you can actually export it and use it. Now, really quickly, I'm going to create another sketch. Why is top 1? I'm going to create another sketch, right? It's going to ask me, where would you like to draw? I would like to draw on the top plane again, because I'm going to draw on top of that one, right? Sketch 2 is exactly on the same point. So in this sketch, I will create the file that I will actually follow. That's why it was important to make this in dash and dots. So the system is not going to see it. The laser cutter is not going to see it, or the 3D printer is not going to see it. Now, first, the limits, I'm just going to copy this and this. It will be, obviously, it would be 100 by 100, right? And now I'm going to start following this silhouette. To follow this silhouette, you can use several tools. What am I trying to do? Several tools. You already learned how to use many of this, but today I want to explore spline, mainly spline, right? So when you're doing something like this and you take a line, for example, all you need to do is try your best to follow whatever is here. Remember that the line will keep on following you. When you press escape, it's going to stop following you, right? But for the types of lines that are obviously are not as straight as you want, let's say till here, I'm zooming in and zooming out. In order to close this shape, I'm going to use the tool spline. No, in this case, I have to use an arc, sorry. So from here to here, and I finish this. So I already finished this bit. Spline will allow us to create the whole shape. Obviously, I'm not going to make the whole shape here in the video, but I want you to see how it's done, right? So for example, I'm gonna go and focus in this eye. I'll select the spline. Just forget about this one. Just go to spline, because it's the easiest one. My advice, try to start in a corner that is a little pointy. So I'll start in the corner that is a little pointy. And every time you click, your line will adapt itself automatically to whatever you're doing, okay? So it will create a curve. The previous line will be curved based on the next click. So all I've done is click and move, click and move, click and move. If I stay here, you see how the previous line rotates and it loses the actual shape. So what I'm going to do is, if I find, let's say a pointy corner like this one, I'm going to hit escape. So my spline will be finished here, and then really carefully ensuring that my first click is actually on my final dot, click here, and then continue making the line. Somewhere here, somewhere here. You can click, it's up to you. It's up to how much detail you want to have in your drawing in terms of the curves and everything else. But literally all I'm doing is clicking and dragging. Remember, try not to have any reference lines, because then if later you will have to use a like a measurement, like a dimension or something, it could affect the shape, the overall shape of your drawing. So I will finish here. Obviously it keeps on following me, but when I hit escape, that's it. This is my line. So now, how is this useful? Because if I finish my sketch, for example, if I finish my sketch, and then when I turn this one off, I have what the laser cutter, for example, in this case, is going to actually cut. It's going to cut a square, that is going to be the card, and then it's going to cut in the middle this. Obviously, once you finish the whole silhouette, it's going to look way cooler and it's going to work. And then finally, as a final tip before finishing the video, since what you have to download in order to cut or do whatever with this is the sketch, make sure that you're drawing everything, every operation that will be followed by the machine, you're drawing it in one single sketch. So then you can come here and actually export it all, and it's going to be in just one file. And that would be it. Good luck with the exercise.